Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Modern RPG Workshop here, and this is lesson 3. So this is actually going to be the shortest video of all the lessons here, because it's just a couple of slides that I'm going to show you, nothing much more than that. But it's just about writing safe embedded SQL, very simple. So here's an example of some embedded SQL, right? So we have a data structure here called activity, and the ext name is act. So act does actually come from our sample tables right here. It has 3 columns: act no, act keyword, yep, and a act description. So that's going to be 3 columns. That's an int 5, character 6, and varchar 20. Okay, fairly simple. Okay, and then we're doing exec SQL declare my cursor for select all from activity. Exec SQL open my cursor fetch into activity. Okay, so all this does will can continuously keep fetching rows and then close it out when it's done. Now there are some issues with this actually, and this is really just a video about me telling you not to use select asterisk. Really, that's pretty much it. That's all I'm going to tell you in this video. So the issue here, where's my pointer gone? Here we go. I love my pointer. The issue here is that our data structure is constantly static. So once we compile the program, the data structure is not going to change, ever, unless we recompile the program, obviously. But then we have this select all from activity. This is a non-static statement, as in it's going to always fetch every column, always. And, our structure here, the select all is supposed to match our static data structure, which never changes. So imagine this. While it may be rare, it's always possible. Right now, activity has 3 columns, right? So a select all is going to match up to activity in the correct columns that they are supposed to. Now let's say somebody, for some reason, goes ahead and adds yet another column to this table, but not at the end. If it was at the end, I'd be less worried. But let's say they add it in the middle. Let's say they add it after keyword and they put act ref or something like that, like a reference column. Now we've got a problem, because what's happening is now it's going to try and fetch all 4 columns, but doesn't have the space to put it in. So now you're going to get data issues because it's trying to fetch 4 columns, but you only have space for 3. So you're going to have some serious data issues here. This is a problem. What I like to do instead, and is always the best way to do it in my opinion, you'll hear this in other languages too, have your activity, as you did, static, never changing. But when you do select, specify the columns that you want specifically. So in this case, act no, act keyword, and act des from activity. It's going to be exactly the same as the structure then. So if they add columns or something changes, then the SQL and the program won't break as the table changes. You're being, very much more specific, explicit if you like. And of course, when we do our fetch, instead of doing a fetch into activity, I just prefer to specifically identify what columns they're going into. So in this case, act no goes into act no, keyword, so on and so forth. So you just have to be a bit more specific about it. Really, this is a very simple rant, but just something to be aware of when writing code in the future. Just good practice, really, to be in. Because a select all, it's great, but it's also a bit ambiguous, because if you don't know what the columns are as well, from here I'd have to go out and look, what are the columns, blah, blah, blah. And here you can see specifically what columns it's returning, It's just good to be explicit always, in my opinion. So instead of ambiguous. So that's pretty much it for this video. Like I said, very short. Very short. And okay, see you in the next one.